What's up, HEROSTOCK Nation?
Write this song all by myself, but the lyrics just lay there on the shelf. The story I'm telling can't find nowhere, sitting by a pile of unspoken prayers. It's rowing this boat with one arm tied behind my back, fighting the tides, circling back to where I come from. Heart getting broke, soul getting on. God help me ask for help when I get stuck down in the stubborn way deep down inside myself. Before I get to saying my farewells, God help me ask for help. When I open my soul and loosen my tongue, feeling all that shit out of my heart run. The weight of the world seemed to melt away, painting me a view on hell of a new day. God help me ask for help when I get stuck down in the stubborn way deep down inside myself. Before I get to saying my farewells, God help me ask for help. Now I'm singing this song like a robin in the spring, out of my cell and finally seeing a whole lot of love being sent my way. To give it all back is what I'm now praying. God help us ask for help when we get stuck down in stubborn way deep down inside ourselves. The last thing on my mind are my farewells. God, thank you for that help. The last thing on my mind are my farewells. God, thank you for that help.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Roundtable, where heroes talk, presented by HEROSTOCK Nation. I'm Tom Lamog with my good friend and co-host Matthew Jones. Hello, Matt. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, bud?
Hey. Well, big event within HEROSTOCK 2026 itself, and it was posted on the HEROSTOCK Nation Facebook page. Jason was really happy to announce the fact that there's the Big, Beautiful, Badass Beard Battle. Try saying that one 3 times fast. It's going to be sponsored by Doc Goodbeard Men's Care Products, our good friend Kevin Gowron, who was on a podcast earlier this year. You're
going to have to run that by me again. Just the big, beautiful, badass beard battle.
Yeah, can you say that 3 times? I'm having problems with that one.
I'd prefer not to.
But it doesn't matter. You just have to show up with that beard, right? Show up, long, rugged, wild, legendary beards, or wherever you fall.
If your face has got some fur on it, if you're sporting a face jacket, whatever you want to call it, you bring that face with you to HEROSTOCK, and you join the competition. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And if we know Kevin, we know Kevin. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
It's gonna be at the Country Drive Golf Course in Ashland, Nebraska on August 15th, 2026. You definitely want to be there. Of course, you want to see the music as well, too, and the over 75 resource booths. Black Hawk as well. They're going to be the headliner, along with a number of local musicians.
That's just exciting, man. I remember listening to Black Hawk when I was a kid.
Oh, man. I've been following them since the Outlaw days as well, too.
And being able to say, I played on the same stage that Black Hawk played on, it's...
Yeah.
What am I talking about? I'm getting all excited. Listen,
I know.
I need to calm down.
Curb your enthusiasm, my friend, because we have more business to get to, and that is tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is singer-songwriter Chad Madsen, whose connection to the military runs deep through family service, including a grandfather who served in World War II, a brother-in-law who served in Afghanistan, and a son who's currently serving in the Nebraska Air National Guard, who's raised in South Dakota and influenced by his mom's songwriting and church music. Chad has spent years leading worship teams before stepping into the world of live performance and original songwriting. He's also the frontman for the band Lost Keys. He weaves together music which is typically associated with folk, Americana, heartfelt storytelling. We're going to talk to him right now. Chad, welcome to the program. How are you this evening?
I'm great, Tom. Thanks for having me. And Matt, thanks for having me. And one of the things, I need to see a morning time beard picture from you at some point. I need to see what that looks like.
It's horrendous, brother. I tell you, it's bad. I'll take one just for you, and then I'll send it to you.
I don't know. I tend to remember the episode with Kevin Gowron, and when you did that whole demonstration, it looked like
like it was a blowout for sure. I tell you what.
No, that's awesome.
Oh man.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on, and
I understand this is your first podcast, so
first ever podcast.
We're honored to have you.
I guess shake out the nerves, man. Shake out the nerves.
I don't really have nerves. I used to be the most shy person in the world. I've always sung, but I couldn't sing like solos in school and stuff, and that's just kind of drifted away over the years. So I don't really get that.
Yeah, not the same over here, but I get to talking, and it's just like, what the hell was he? What was I saying? And it's like, we're going to cut that part out, right?
See, that's the reason why I have Matt do solo, the solo interviews. When I step away, it's like, I want to see him sweat a little bit.
This is going to be interesting.
Chad, hey, listen, I know that Jason Steiner, our man in charge of HEROSTOCK, he met you over at the Trails of Tales Songwriters Festival in Deadwood, South Dakota. And he said, Tom, there are a number of really talented songwriters, and I think you ought to have Chad on the program. So we are honored to have you spend a little time with us, talk about some of the things that you've experienced, not only in real life but also as a songwriter and a musician and performer. I know you provided me with quite the bio, and you were talking about this being something that's relatively new, and there was this whole shyness about you when you were younger. How did you get over something like that, to become what you are now, which is a performer?
I think repetition. I think when you're forced in the front, when I remember the day my the leader of our praise band, I was just getting started in praise band, and I didn't know how to play the guitar really well, he actually told me I couldn't play the guitar in praise band. He told me I could sing, and I told him, well, if you teach me how to play the guitar, I'll sing in your praise band. But there was one day where he called in sick, and I looked at the other guitar player, and he shook his head, and well, I started playing the song, and it was completely wrong. The singers are looking at me. The pastor used it in his sermon as a point in his sermon. The song was called "We Humble Ourselves."
Called Creative Leeway, by the way.
Right. But then it's just doing it and doing it and doing it, and like Matt said, you try to reach one, you try to reach two, you try to reach three, and when I'm playing in front of a large audience, a lot of times I'll focus on one or two people and just look at them and say, I think they need this, or I think they want that, right? And so I try to shrink the audience down a little bit for myself to make it a little
Have you
more.
noticed it's kind of difficult when you bounce from one person to the next person and you're singing your music and you're thinking of your own lyrics and you're like, oh my God, what was my words?
Yep.
I've heard that, focusing on one or two individuals, or just keeping focused on that for the moment and pretend you're singing to that individual. That's something that I still struggle with. It's kind of like I can't help but look around because there's so many things that are happening. But are you finding that that's pretty easy to do these days? To kind of focus in on that and
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it's my happy place. There's just something about getting up and sharing.
Spotlights are awesome. Spotlights have their perks.
They do.
Because when the spotlights are on you and you look out there and you see absolutely nobody, they all see you, but you don't see them.
Yep,
they have their perks.
Especially when they blind you in the eyes. It's kind of like, I can't see anything anyway, so... So, hey, Chad, let me ask you about your youth. Let's kind of, since we're kind of talking about getting to know you a little bit, maybe you can kind of take us back to your youth. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself from back then, and maybe even how others would have described you.
Ooh. Yeah, so, again, growing up, small town, farm, like a lot of us did, and I was really shy kid, and I always looked at my mom, who it's kind of cool. I didn't plan this, but she's back there, in the picture.
We see her. We see her. Yeah,
lost her about eight years ago. But she was amazing singer, amazing songwriter, and all of her songs were the most heartfelt, things in the world. Every year for confirmation class, she would have all the kids write something down on a piece of paper, and she'd put it all together and write a song for that class. So
that's really cool.
So she just had that in her, and she was on everybody's. She was supposed to sing at everybody's funeral, right? It's funny now that I go out and I find somebody that says, well, your mom was supposed to sing at my funeral, so you're going to have to sing at my funeral. So she was just a really special person in the community and musically, and so I've always had it. I've always had that kind of in my core. And when she passed away in 2018, I'd been leading praise bands for, almost 20 years at that point, but I'd never really taken my music out or dabbled into songwriting. At that point, I just said, I don't want to have a regret, in my life, and I'm going to do it. And another really divine thing that happened, I already had my first gig was set up at Buffalo Ridge Brewing in Hartford, South Dakota, and I think it was less than 2 weeks before that I happened to meet a guy, and through a friend of mine, and he says, you guys should play music together. Joe plays the cajon and plays the guitar and sings. I think we'd maybe practiced 30 minutes, and then we just jumped in there at the gig, and it just kind of, it's just this glue we had immediately. So
wow.
Kind of
How
fortunate to
happen?
step into my musical journey with my buddy Joe and my buddy Al. So yeah.
And now the three of you been playing together since then?
Yeah. Here and there. I do mostly solo shows just because those guys are busy, but like here on May 23rd, we're playing at the Broadwater by Lake Madison in South Dakota. All three of us will be there, and it's a ton of fun. Once you mix a mandolin, a cajon, a couple of guitars, and some crazy people together, and it's a blast.
Well, I know a crazy bearded guy who knows how to play cowbell. If you need someone to play some cowbell,
Be sure to tell him about HEROSTOCK 2026 and the Badass Beard competition.
Yeah.
With your mom and the church, these are obviously things that have kind of inspired you. It sounds like to where you're at today with music.
Yeah, in fact, I had a really special opportunity. I think a couple of years ago now, I got a message from a girl I went to high school with, and she's like, I found this song that your mom or my mom had written a song with her mom for their wedding, and they were able to send me the handwritten lyrics of this song, and I was able to then take that song, and I'd never heard it, so I put it to music, and I put that together for him, and then I told him, then I got to listen to her recording after the fact, and so that was a pretty special situation, because I think what I really struggle with, and Matt, maybe you did too, for a lot of years, I would try to write songs, and I just wouldn't finish, and I think I finally realized, and actually I got a chance to talk to a musician we really follow, BJ Barham, down in Omaha a couple of years ago, and I asked him the question, and I said, how do you go about this? And he's like, well, you write a bunch of really bad songs, and then out of that is going to be a okay song, and then you just write some okay songs, and it's a pretty good song. But his lesson was, get it out there. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I think that's what opened the door for me. Is it doesn't have to be a number one hit. It just has to be a song that is in your heart that you need to get out. So
to be able to pull together experiences just to write one song, right? And it's not like an overnight thing. This is things that last weeks, months, and some years to finally pull the song together. It's different for everyone, though, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that was told to me as a piece of advice when I went to Denver for this National Veterans Creative Arts Competition, they had little breakout workshops that you could sign up for, and so I signed up for a songwriting one. And one of the things that they had told us was that when it comes to songwriting, we do tend to get caught up in what we're trying to say and painting a perfect picture. He said, but when you think about, painting a perfect picture, everyone really loves a pretty picture, but it never happens if the painter never approaches the easel, or never approaches the canvas. So he's like, make time just to write. You don't have to complete it, but make time to write.
Yeah, and I'm not great about it. I'm pretty good about it. I got a recorder on my phone. I usually, if something comes into my head, I usually try to capture little bits and pieces, but that's the other thing, is my memory isn't. If I think I'm going to remember something that I thought of 10 minutes ago, I don't.
Well, but that's the interesting thing. We all have that. Like, I got hundreds of little recordings on my phone. I imagine you have the same, and of course the Notes app has got partial to almost full songs in there, and I held on to those for so long. It was like, I want to say 3 years had gone by, and I came back to a previous song, and I finished it 3 years later. But it was like, for some reason, there was something stopping it, so
it wasn't ready yet, the part
very
that
well
is in here wasn't ready to come out.
Yeah.
And what's also a challenge is finding that when you have another story you want to write about and another story you want to write about, all of a sudden you've got three separate projects to work on, and that could be kind of a distraction as well too, I'd imagine.
I've had them where they join into one.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's
which kind of worked out good.
Kind of like you have so much material for one song that you're like, this really could be 3 songs.
Yeah.
3 sad songs about the same topic, So
Yeah. I want to go back to the song that you opened with. Maybe you can kind of tell us the title and maybe the inspiration behind writing it.
Yeah, it's a really special song to me, and I think for the veterans community, as much as the veteran community struggles with suicide, it's just something that needs to be talked about. And in this particular case, a good family friend of ours lost their dad to suicide, and every year they go out and raise awareness, do a big walk in Sioux Falls, and then they have a big gathering at their house. And I've been able to play music for those guys the last 3-4 years, and I decided to write a song for them, and that was that song. And the song's called "Help Me Ask for Help." And I think that's the biggest barrier when it comes to guys, and I imagine it's a significant barrier when it comes to veterans who are, supposed to be labeled as tough guys and kind of bulletproof. And so that song's just a message about, letting it out, talking to somebody, and again, just God doesn't always provide the answers directly, but if you ask for help, I'm betting He's going to put somebody in your path that's going to be able to help you.
What's it say? Ask and you shall receive.
Yep.
So sometimes we just need to tell ourselves, hey, it's okay to ask.
Right.
Now, you had mentioned that in your bio that you shared with me that your family has deep military ties, right? Maybe you can kind of share that with the audience here, what you shared with me.
Yeah. So my grandfather served in World War II, and it was interesting. Really, up until not that long ago, maybe 6 months ago, I didn't really know exactly. He never spoke about it, and then he died many years ago. But I got to asking my uncle about it. Like, do you have anything, or what did he talk about? And he was in a kind of a very precarious position. He was a lineman, and basically they would go out in front of the battles, right? And they'd go run transmission lines and whatnot. And they were. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. He was all over France. He was in Africa. I got his discharge papers, so it was kind of interesting to see all the various battles he was in. But he didn't talk about it much at all. But my brother-in-law Dave, who I talked to quite a bit in preparations for this, because he's served. He was injured in combat, and he's also been a huge part of supporting veterans in many ways since coming back. So he was an engineer in Afghanistan, and they got a chance to go out and build things, design and build wells and bridges and things to help the people, and really got a chance to know the people in Afghanistan really well. And so I'm really proud of the service that he gave, and I was really proud. My son decided to join the Nebraska Air National Guard and go to school down in Lincoln. So he's actually called up. He's serving at the base, full time at the base for the next year down there. And it's always a regret that I've had, guys. It's kind of the one regret in my life that I didn't serve in some form, fashion, or another. So having my son do it actually gives me a sense of.
You said was your brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Was in Afghanistan with the Engineer Corps?
Yeah, he was a Army. I'm going to mess it up if I even try, but
no, I so want you to try, because I too was in the Army in Afghanistan.
Were you?
In the Corps of Engineers.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know he was in I want to say Army Reserves. He wasn't in the National Guard. He was in the Reserves. Okay. And he was in a unit out in Colorado. And his injury story is so interesting. He was just a few days from coming home, and they were driving in a convoy, and like a dump truck came and T-boned the little car he was in. He should have never lived. But he got got through that and got home, and he struggles with what's happened and what's going on over there, and all the work that they did, and worries about the friends he made and things like that. So, but he's just a really special guy, and again, he was telling me, how important it is for when veterans come back from war, for them to find something to connect with their former self a little bit. And and a lot of guys like he does, he helps take veterans out hunting and fishing and whatnot. But he's also got a friend who opened up an arts theater in New York, for veterans, right? So veterans performing arts, similar to what you were just talking about. And I think that's so cool, because not every veteran is going to be a hunter, right? There's got to be things out there where
it excites me to hear you say all these things, because it's like, you and your brother-in-law are, you guys are exactly the people that need to be connected to HEROSTOCK. The community of people that we are, and I'm really interested to talk to your brother-in-law about where he was, in years and whatnot, because you said a few things there. Now I'm like, okay, So, yeah, definitely.
Well, he'll be tuning in when the podcast goes live. He already subscribed to it, so
we got to talk, man. We got to talk.
Awesome. Hey, Chad, what do you say we break for another song?
Yes.
It's wonderful to hear everything that you shared with us so far. What have you got for us next? Maybe you can give us a lead in as to how the inspiration to write it, and let's see what you got.
Yeah, this one made Jason leak out at the Songwriters Festival a little bit. So
I'm not crying, you're crying.
But the funny thing about songs, sometimes you don't even know where they came from, right? But Joe, my bandmate, he sent me this little guitar melody that he had been noodling with, and he sends me this thing, and he's like, "Write a song," and I'm like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "I don't know, just write a song." And so I sat on that for quite a while, and it was Veterans Day, I want to say 2 years ago. I'm driving to work, and my drive to work takes me by a really big cemetery in Sioux Falls, kind of both ways you turn. And I'm driving by that cemetery, and this song just kind of, it started to write itself. And by the time I got to work, I think I'd finished probably 80% of it. And so this song is called Old Empty Grave. And I guess it, talks about the sacrifice of not just the folks that serve and die, but the families that are left behind, right? So this is that Old Empty Grave. Out on the farm, the smell of lilacs and the sound of growing corn. We never lay dead in the ground, fell in that war, but his body never found. Boy, I should have been so proud. My heart kept crawling back to that hole in the ground. And for everything he gave, all we have is this old empty grave. Got the call the day before, said he's fine, knows just who he's fighting for. But on the very next damn day, the squad is ambushed and they carried him away. Boy, he never came back home. Lying somewhere in the sand and the stones. Those wilted flowers lying on their graves. Lay down some new ones where their heads should be laid. We used to sit, talk for hours at a time. Now I'm searching for a reason or a rhyme. Plot out on the farm, the smell of lilacs and the sound of growing corn. We never laid them in these graves. Won't forget the sacrifices that they made.
Chad Madsen. That's wonderful, my friend. I mean, I could see the imagery and, bringing your harmonica in with that. I have questions now. So, first of all, let's talk about the construction of the song. You're handed, I'm guessing, a set of lyrics.
Nothing. All I had was
write a song.
All you had was
basically
a
write
melody.
a song. That's all that it was.
That's all I had was
Okay.
just
That's
that.
all you had. So talk us through the process. Because here's what what comes to mind to me is your mom's influence. Singing with the church, right? All of this comes into play. Your exposure to the military, through stories or stories that were never told. All of this gets kind of like, put into this box.
Yeah, it always starts with something. There's this song and another song I'll do for you later that just there's something about driving by that cemetery that day that planted some sort of seed in me, because I had no concept of this idea even at all before I drove to work that day. And so I think sometimes songs just happen. Sometimes you got to grind them out. Like you've got this concept or this line or this hook that you really want to use, and you just grind to the end of it.
Are we talking like to get the story right lyrically, or to get it melodically
all of it.
correct? All of it.
All of it. Yeah. It just, you know, sometimes I start and I've got the guitar figured out, and I've got the whole song written musically, but I have no plan for the music. And sometimes I've got, like Matt said, sometimes you've got 6 notebook pages full of scribbles that you think are part of one song, and that comes together. Then you wrap the music around it. And for me, I don't have a magic formula, much like I don't have a genre. I don't know how you classify me, and I don't really care, because they're like Matt. There are songs, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I am, but
Well, a good start would be, well, I am a songwriter and I sing. Maybe singer-songwriter.
Singer-songwriter. Yeah, I guess
It's got to be better when someone says, "Oh, well, what do you play?" And you go, "Yep." Yep.
Yeah.
Here, why don't I play something for you and you can tell me. There is obviously a point where you thought, you know what? This is hitting on all cylinders. Lyrically, musically, rhythmically. What's the sniff test for that for you? When for this particular song, it's kind of like, you know what? I'm done. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, and sometimes I do go back to songs. If I don't, bridges, I hate writing bridges. That's my Achilles heel.
They say not every song needs a bridge, and I'll stand by that. I don't know who said it, but I'll take it to the grave.
It's what
I
you
love
want.
that. Whoever that is, I love
I
them.
mean, if it doesn't feel right,
Yeah,
so why bother?
you out there
right.
somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think
It's gotta be- for
I think
you.
if you listen to like a lot of songwriters I listen to, they do get pretty predictable. It's the same structure, for a lot of their songs, and I think just for me, I don't get hung up on that. I just, if it feels, I mean, the last song I finished writing here a few weeks ago. I mean, I'm sure if you asked a professional songwriter, they'd be like, "Oh, that's not at all. You can't do that." I'm like, "But I did." So.
Yeah, I think if I asked a professional songwriter, I'd probably have to give them guidance and say, "Hey, lie to me, okay? Don't be honest. Just lie to me."
But the thing too that I've noticed, at least with my own songwriting, which is basically, who am I writing it for? And you have to ask yourself, if I'm writing this for someone else, that's all you're writing it for. But if you're writing it for commercial purposes, then go to the professional songwriter and say, I need help with this. I mean, in all honesty, it's like these are stories that are meant, I mean, for me, it's like an intimate story to be shared with family or friends or, whatever. So for you, it's, who did you play the song for first, and what was their reaction?
I played that song. When the first time I played that song live to an audience, it was actually at that Trails of Tales festival. I think.
Was Jason in the crowd? Is this the one?
Jason heard the first take of that one. But
You
before,
said this one was a tearjerker for him, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, before I did it for anybody, I'm my buddy Joe, who sent me the musical part. I shared it with him, and he actually helped write the bridge for it, and gave some advice on a few other things. So I don't do that enough. I don't get help songwriting. I don't co-write as much as I should. I think that would be a pretty powerful experience.
Geez, how long have you been at this now, songwriting?
I'd say a little over 3 years since I finished my first song.
You're just starting out, and the beautiful thing about it is that there are things that you're learning along the way, and a collaboration is one of them. You're learning that. You're finding that out. And I think you should collaborate with this other guy who's, the bearded guy here, because he's like,
this guy. This. I'm always down to collaborate.
He's Made that
I'm
very
working.
clear.
I'm working on a project right now with a buddy that I served with in Afghanistan. He too, engineer corps. We had a lot of things that were, just kind of we very similar on. So one day we had a little melody, and I showed him how to play it. It was drop D, and he had never tuned his guitar into like a dad-gad tuning. And so as soon as I showed him, you could see it on his face, like his whole world just opened up, and it was like, okay, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beauty of creating music. There are rules, yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun to be had. You can do it by yourself, but when you collaborate, there's some pros and there's some cons to that. But it all has to feel right to you. If there's one thing worth stressing out on is that I want this to sound like this, but I can't figure that out, so I need help, or I can figure this out on my own. You get to that. You'll figure that out once you. I wanted to ask you, how many songs have you written in the 3 years?
I think I've got probably 20. Yeah.
I got to step my game up, man.
What's funny, Matt, for me is I'll go 6 months without finishing a song, and then I'll like pour out 3 of them in a month.
Yeah, don't you love how that happens?
Gosh.
Yeah.
And usually it's during the month where you want to go out and do stuff like, oh, hey, we got to put a pool up, or we got to build a deck, and you're like, no, I got to write songs.
I just want to get a good night's sleep instead of waking up at 2 a.m. and say, oh, I got to write this down.
Yeah.
What's kind of sad for me is that I seem to write songs when I'm in my darker times than when I'm in my carefree, everything's going great sort of times.
And in the darker times, man, we're looking for light. In the happier times, we're in it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So,
well, in time, what you'll find is that you'll have a collection of experiences. Not all of them will be sad or bad or anything like that you can reflect on. And that, I'm finding that with my own songwriting right now, where it's kind of like I'm writing about 20 years ago. And, I was, I had a 10-year-old daughter, and 9/11, of course, and things that I could write about that I've already lived through. And although the themes were dark, being in a reflective mood, it certainly changes the perspective and the feel of the music that I write. So something to look forward to, I should say. But the stuff that you're sharing with us right now, wow, it must be a thrill to share in front of the audience.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the performance aspect of what you do. Now you've written songs, you played them to friends, to family, but now you're faced with crowds of people, like over at Trails of Tales, and beyond. I'm certain that you've got a number of gigs that are ahead of you. When did you know that performing is what you wanted to do? When it wasn't just, okay, I'll just play with the group and be in the background, but to actually be front and center singing your songs. When did that happen?
I think that feeling started while I was leading praise bands, but my first gig I played live, I knew at that gig, the feeling I got from that was, I don't know what hard drugs feel like, but I'd imagine it's something like that. And it's
no nerves before, right? No nerves? You're not nervous at all?
No.
Man.
It's just so many years of praise band, so many years of leading and preparation and all of that. I do remember the largest crowd I ever sang in front of was about 6,000 people, and I was deathly nervous for that one.
Okay, so now that you've told me that you were deathly nervous, I know that there's all right. This guy's got a chink in the armor. He gets nervous too. Because I think that's one of the most intimidating things about being a performer. I know for myself, because I want I want to get an honest feedback from the audience. And it's hard. It's hard to get people to even listen if they've never heard of you before. So a lot of times you're just background noise.
That's tough, Matt. That's tough. Like when you're playing for a dinner crowd or something, or like a high school graduation reception I played for a couple weeks ago. Nobody, it's like, I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. Those are tough, and I treat those as practice. Like I'm doing it.
Paid rehearsals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Those are.
Do you have a hard time? Do you have a hard time coming up with a set list?
Yes.
Yeah. That's still a challenge.
For me, I never have a firm, like, here's exactly what I'm playing. As a solo artist, I think you have that luxury. You don't have all this other stuff going on, and so most gigs are a combination of cover songs and then originals sprinkled throughout for me. And I'll start off with a list of 130 songs, right? With no way you're gonna.
That's insane. 130 songs.
But as I'm going, it's like fishing. So I might play a Turnpike Troubadour song, and I'll look out in the crowd, and if I see a couple people that are like, "Oh yeah," then I'm like, "All right, I'm going down that vein, right?" Or whatever it may be, and so you just kind of go fishing, and that's what leads me through the rest of my show is just the most random.
Is it mostly covers that you do, or do you also do primarily your originals?
I do. I'll sprinkle all my originals in, right? But it's not uncommon for me to do 50, 60 songs in a night. I don't take breaks. I'm not very smart about that. I just play.
Just play until your fingers bleed.
Yeah. So I try to get all my originals in, but you gotta, how it is, Matt. I mean, you're playing a bar or whatever. That's what I like. The Trails of Tales was so special because not only are you getting to share your originals, but you're getting to share your originals with people that are sitting out there listening and wanting to hear your stories. And I don't think there's anything more special than that. Versus,
I try to take breaks because if my music sucks, I'm funny, so I crack a couple jokes here and there,
Yeah.
You don't suck. Come on.
I said if. If the music's bad, don't worry.
I think
I got
Chad
jokes.
sets a good bar for you, Matt. You should just play continuously because you don't suck.
It's the only rule is don't suck, right?
Oh man.
I wanted to find out from you who your musical influences. Like who is it that you were listening to, on the radio or on, what was in your MP3 player, who are they? Who were they? Who are your influences?
I live kind of in that red dirt Americana vein most of the time. I think that's just pure songwriting. I remember the first time I took my son to Omaha to an outdoor, there's some pavilion down there. I can't remember what the name of it was, but we went to see the old 97s, and my son was like 10, and I was mad because old 97s wasn't headlining. It was some band called Turnpike Troubadours, and
band.
So American Aquarium opened, old 97s, and then Turnpike Troubadours, and it just blew me away. And so you think about Jason Isbell, Tyler Childers, American Aquarium. There's a band out of Minnesota, an old band from when I was in college called the Gear Daddies. That I gotta shout them out. But Martin Zeller is just an unbelievable songwriter, and I think that's what I get drawn to. And I'm not saying I don't respect people that don't write their own songs, but it just means something to me a little bit deeper when I know that song came from them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I live most of my life is in that realm.
Some authenticity that rings through what you just said. It has to be from the heart. It's nice to to sing other people's music, but if it's written by yourself, you understand the impact or potentially understand it. Very emotional. I mean, we can tell in your writing as well too. it touches on emotions as well, versus they're just words that rhyme.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking on that emotions, I mean, does any of your music as you're playing it, do your originals make you kind of get choked up? Do you feel them as you play them?
The next one I'm going to play, the next one I'll play does. It's hard for me to make it through that song.
Yeah. Those are the beauties. Those are the diamonds in the rough. The ones that are hardest to play, but the ones that the most people need to hear.
So I say we just transition that because we're coming up at the end of the program here. First of all, Chad, I will say how enjoyable it is to be talking with you, not only about your youth, but also your songwriting experiences and, the stories that you've shared about yourself. We're thrilled to be the first interview for you on the podcast. We want to go ahead and give you pretty much the last opportunity to play a song for us. Tell us a little bit about it. And then, of course, we're gonna have to find a way to get you to come to Nebraska and share some of your talent with the rest of HEROSTOCK Nation there in the Lincoln and Omaha
maybe collaborate or something.
Oh yeah. I know a writer that's out in that area. But what have you got for us? What do you want to close the show with tonight?
So before I get into that, I just want to thank you guys for having me. Just right away when I met Jason and got to know him and got to learn about HEROSTOCK, it was just something that really struck me, and just love what you guys are doing. And so thanks for having me on the show, and thanks for what you do.
Thank you, man.
And as far as the song goes, this is one of those magical songs that just happened. But so I sat down one night to write a song for my wife about Matthew McConaughey, because a funny song, right?
All right.
That's right. I was gonna be all right. And I sat down to write that song. It was just gonna be a stupid song, and this song just came out. I don't even really remember. If you asked me to where'd you come up with that? I don't even remember. I just have in my head. So the premise of the song is a song that my mom is writing me from heaven, and so it just went
okay.
from
I gotta get prepared here.
I know.
It just went from some.
Matt,
set it up, man.
Here you go. Let me get one for you ready.
But it went from something so ridiculous to that. So this song's called Eternal Harmony. No, I left too early, much left to say and do. Dying didn't hurt as bad as looking up at you. Tears falling from your eyes, you're whispering your last goodbyes, begging God tell you why He's taking me from you. Gonna be alright. Stare up at the stars at night, find the one that shines the brightest. Know your heart I hold so tight, singing with the angel band, just waiting for you hand in hand. You and I will fill this land with eternal harmony. I'm where I always wanted, dreamed that I would be. Didn't have to give a time or place that He called to set me free. So live your life every day, be kind to people in your way. Know that there will come a day that He brings you home to me. Gonna be alright. Stare up at the stars at night, find the one that shines the brightest. Know your heart I hold so tight, singing with the angel band, just waiting for you hand in hand. You and I'll fill this land with eternal harmonies. In the stillness of the winter, blossoms in the spring, fireworks in the summer sky, and a rooster taking wing. All around you every day, eavesdropping when you kneel and pray, shining light that guides the way that brings you home to me. Gonna be alright. Stare up at the stars at night, find the one that shines the brightest. Know your heart I hold so tight, singing with the angel band, just waiting for you hand in hand. You and I'll fill this land with eternal harmonies. Gonna be alright. Stare up at the stars at night, find the one that shines the brightest. Know your heart I hold so tight, singing with the angel band, just waiting for your hand in hand. You and I'll fill this land with eternal harmony. You and I'll fill this land with eternal harmony.
That's Chad Madsen, everyone. And so, thank you for wrapping up the show with us. I have a couple more questions I want to run by. First of all, where can we find your music? Do you have a place out there where we can tell people to go to either purchase your music or to listen to your music? Where can we find it?
So that ties into one flaw that I do have, Matt, that's tied to kind of what you talk about, is give up control of your music. I've struggled with actually getting it recorded because I don't want it to turn into some produced thing that, right? And so that's the next step, Tom, is what I need to do is actually get my music recorded. And I do have a friend of mine who's lined up to help with that here in the near future. But for now, my Facebook page, TikTok page, I'll have just videos of me playing my originals and other stuff on it. So for now, that's where you can find me.
That's very cool. Chad, it was a real pleasure talking with you. Thanks for joining us tonight, sharing with us, the music and the stories, your life experiences. And for those who are listening, be sure to follow both Chad Madsen and the Lost Keys as well to his band. Keep an eye out for their upcoming performances, the ones that he just mentioned. The other thing I want to share with you before we head out of here is HEROSTOCK 26. It's coming to Ashland, Nebraska, the 15th of August, featuring live music, community, and support of our veterans, first responders, and Gold Star families. It's all going to be there. The cost for our heroes, our veterans, first responders, it's free. So why are you waiting? You can learn more about the big event by visiting our website, HEROSTOCK.org, which is where you can also get the tickets. Matt, any closing thoughts?
Nah, I'm excited to hear more. So yeah, get the posting that stuff up there, Chad. Get it up there so we can all hear it.
Yeah,
sounds good, Matt.
Yeah, and well, everyone, it's time to wrap it up here. I'm Tom Lamog with Matthew Jones. Good night from the Roundtable, where Heroes Talk, reminding you to keep the conversation going and keep honoring our heroes.